Well, guys, it's playoff time. So, what does playoffs and YouTube together mean? You guessed it, tier lists. Wink, wink. So, today we'll be ranking all the playoff teams in my 5 arbitrary categories. We have Super Bound, maybe, that pesky lower seeded team that no one wants to play, just happy to be here, and lol Dallas. Where will your favorite team go? I mean, besides the Cowboys. Stay tuned to find out. So let's start with the AFC, shall we? Fresh off being last year's bridesmaids, we have the Bengals. For a while it looked like Super Bowl hangover got them and they had a really slow start this year. But since he got it together and got red hot at the right time, beating KC among other teams, looked like they were about to railroad the Bills too before the scariest moment most of us has ever seen in sports happened. Thankfully, Hamlin is recovering nicely, but the role that the Bengals are on, how can you not think of them as contenders? Bam, and put them right where they belong. Up next, let's take a look at the Bills. Most Bills fans, as well as the rest of the NFL, aren't really over the way they lost to KC last year. But they look like a team on a mission to start this season, for a while. Then they had a few baffling losses here and there, including that mid-season loss to the Jets and the game they lost to the Vikings in overtime, where they failed to take advantage of some overtime rules that were in their favor. Nice interception, Josh. Yeah, with Allen, Diggs, and an inspired Bills team playing for their fallen brother, they're all set to make a run. When they're on, they can beat anybody in the playoffs. Up next, we have the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles. See, this is a team that we tend to look at as a team that might be a year or two off. I expect a quick exit for them. I think the program is solid and they'll make noise every year. But this year they have nothing for the higher tier teams. And it's weird because they're a pretty good team, but nobody's really checking for them. And neither am I. Kansas City's next. So at first when they lost Tyreek Hill, we all thought the offense would sputter a bit. Don't lie, you did too. But then Mahomes threw 5 TDs the first week, and KC has been every bit as good offensively as they've been every year. Don't believe me? Check the numbers. No one makes scoring as easy as they do, except for maybe Will Chamberlain, both on and off the court. They can put points in bunches and at will. So they'll definitely be in a conversation for Super Bowl contenders. So let's put them right where they belong. Speaking of Tyreek, up next we have the Dolphins. See, Miami made it to the playoffs in reverse, losing a ton of games in the last couple of months. I mean, a lot. They were Flores in reverse, actually. They're a very talented team, but completely botched the handling of Tua's injuries. Not once, but twice, thus proving the definition of insanity. Don't expect much out of them in the playoffs. They'll be in and out faster than Abe Simpson. Dolphins, there you go. Up next, we got the dark horse, Jacksonville Jaguars. See, Jaguars got red hot at the right time. That's all you could ask for at the playoff time. Yeah, I would consider this Trevor Lawrence's true rookie season, because you can't consider any year with Urban Meyer to be a pro year, can you? Jacksonville started the year like they always do, losing games. It seemed a bit different. They were hyper competitive, lost a ton of close games, and actually figured it out well enough to win the division. To be honest, if I'm a higher seeded team, I might be worried about them. They're poised for an upset. And up next, to round out the AFC, we have the Baltimore Ravens. So it's a team that we kind of forgot made the playoffs, and they have Lamar out for the game. They're still talented and will compete, but it won't be enough. Lamar will probably earn his dollars by not being there. Ravens will be out quick. Easy come, easy go. And over in the NFC, we probably have the hottest team in the NFL. Loaded from top to bottom with talent. They just need their quarterback to not F it up. It seems like no matter who gets hurt, they still got it. With playmakers on offense and a relentless defense, the team has been set to make a run for a number of years. Trey Lance goes out there, gets hurt, they bounce back. Jimmy G goes out there, gets hurt, they bounce back. And then they're stuck with the best Brock since this guy popped in. Through all the ins and outs, the Niners still remain the team to beat. That's wild. Perfect. Definitely contenders. Next we got Tampa Bay, the Bucks. Well, they won their division, but the way that division was set up this year, that's like having the fastest Prius. Brady's cooked, and the Bucks are done. It's been good enough to carry teams in the past, but time catches up with us all. If we say this enough times about Brady, we'll eventually be right? But, of course, they should advance because... And the Lol Dallas Award goes to the Packers. Nah, this honorary annual distinction belongs to Antarctica's team, because no team gets colder at playoff time than Dallas. To be fair, only one team every year gets to put it together and make a full playoff run. And Dallas hasn't been that one team since 95. I mean, they are talented top to bottom, and if everything goes right, they can beat anyone. But they're cursed in the playoffs, and this will likely be another one. There you go. And while we're on the NFC East, let's talk about the Eagles next. Last year's Eagles team were a lot like the Giants, overachievers. But then they were gifted A.J. Brown thanks to the Titans and took off this year. Many might criticize their schedule, but they are what their record says they are, as a legendary coach once said. Hurts had a breakout year, and they have more weapons than the NRA. Expect them to be in the mix deep into the playoffs. And on the opposite side of the talent spectrum, we have the New York Football Giants. The fact that they won 9 games with no receivers and more injured people than a nursing home, you have to put Brian Daboll in the conversation of Coach of the Year. They figured out how to keep Daniel Jones from turning the ball over. Saquon Barkley got his groove back. This is one of those teams that can really wreck a game, which is why I'm putting them in the lower seeds you don't want to face. Not because of talent, but because their style keeps games closer than you'd like it to be. Giants fans like to compare this to the teams that upset the Patriots, but I disagree. Eli and Justin Tucker ain't coming out here, and they might muddy up a round or two, but they need a bit more talent for a legit run. Up next we have the Seahawks. Who'd have thought that when the season started that Geno Smith of all people would lead this team to the playoffs and Russell Wilson would be the flop? Goes to show that no matter how good or bad you are, sometimes situations mean everything. Geno had an excellent year and resurrected a career that we all thought was dead. I watched a number of Seahawks games, and Geno had been slinging it with no fear and was throwing a deep ball like I've never seen him throw before. They're poised to be a problem in the playoffs, but their defense is a far cry from the Legion of Boom though. But we'll put them right here. Last but not least, we have the Vikings, whose playoff heartbreak knows no bounds. I mean, we've all witnessed the catastrophic Viking losses in the playoffs. In fact, I've referenced them in the past. The Vikings definitely have a talented roster though, and they get the ball to Jefferson early and often. So the question is, which Kirk Cousins will show up? Will he and the rest of the team leave Skull Nation in misery? Odds are probably. Until they prove otherwise, I have to put them at happy to be here. Or do I put them in? Maybe. You know what? I'm gonna go against my better judgment and put them right here, just based on talent. So let's rearrange these now that we have them set up. Right up top, I think that the one team that's going to win this year and exercise their demons will be the Bills. Ooh, fate said no. I say yes. The Chiefs, I would put them in as the second team. There you go. San Fran, I think, would be the third to beat. And then rounding it out would be the Bengals and the Eagles. I will continue to outsmart myself here, and I'm going to put the Vikings over Tampa on this tier. If it moves, there you go. I think that makes sense. Maybe, probably, possibly. We'll see. In my tier of pesky teams, I think I will put the Seahawks first. Mainly because offensively, they are a handful for most of these teams. Second, I will put the Giants. The blitz-happy Giants. With their running game and their blitzing, they can slow a game down to a crawl, which would keep them competitive. And of course, third there is Jacksonville, who I think might win a round, but if they don't, they'll definitely make some noise. Fourth tier, I'm going to keep as is for the most part. I think the Chargers are the best of that group. I actually think the Chargers are better than I give them credit for. I just don't trust them yet. I'm going to put Baltimore ahead of Miami, only because I think Miami has sputtered so badly, especially with the Tua injuries, that they're just going to fall flat on their face come playoff time. And Dallas is not going anywhere until proven otherwise. So that's our tier list, guys. Feel free to disagree if you dare. I'm open to arguments. Do feel free to try to change my mind or convince me why I'm wrong. Thanks for checking me out. Don't forget, the algorithm monster is always hungry. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit up my socials, say hi to me. I might say hi back. Let's chat or argue, whatever is your preference. So until next time, you're dismissed.